And then we're going to go live to weather with Harrison Wynn.
I think in a past life, like maybe I should have been a meteorologist.
Ooh, Harrison Wynn. Oh my God. I would have been like Vic Lombardi, where I never thought that was his real name. I always thought that was a stage name, but it's his real name.
Right. Somehow I got into sports. So.
What is up, everybody, and welcome into the pregame lounge presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Download the app right now. Use promo code DNVR when you do, because the man sitting over there wearing the Showtime shirt. They call him Money Duvalier. They don't call him that. Money Dev.
That was rough, yeah.
I'll be Moneybags or something.
Moneybags?
Yeah, I'll be Moneybags.
All right, Moneybags. That was your introduction. You got anything?
I mean, I'm feeling good. I think that this is a new series, and with new series comes new money to be made.
Nice.
You can open up a new bank account because we're going to fill it up. We're going to fill it up.
You can use the same bank account, but whatever. Do your own thing. Do your own thing. Over here, the man who should have been a meteorologist in a former life, in a past life, he was what? Harrison Wynn.
I mean, I definitely should have been, man. Like, I would probably have made it further in meteorology than
You'd be so good.
Sports right now. I know.
You'd be so good.
I know. Like, people be saying there's no way Wind is actually your last name,
So
which
true.
I do get a lot. Like, to be honest,
A lot of people say that. They question your last name.
I either made it up or I'm Native American. Like, both not even close to being true.
Interesting. And over here, I got Brendan Vogt drinking a cold brew. He's already got a smoothie in. He's got some coconut milk over there or something. I don't know.
That's right. Pretty much, yeah, you nailed it. If I seem a little distracted, guys, it's because I'm enthralled by this nail biter in Brooklyn here.
Yeah, down to the wire.
Down to the wire.
What does the Bucks cut it to?
It's 29 in the fourth.
It is nice and comforting, sometimes to realize that nothing matters.
That's right.
It is. It's important to remember that. Brooklyn.
Yeah, just the vibes, the only thing that matters.
It's funny that Brooklyn, it's actually hilarious to think that James Harden, for a while there, was an MVP candidate. Only reason he didn't get more MVP consideration is because he got hurt and had to go out. But everybody's like, is he the MVP? Well, I don't know. Without them, they're smacking the Bucks by 30 and ready to take a 2-0 series lead.
Well, Adam, it's all to the credit of Steve Nash, who has just done an incredible job coaching this year and a much-deserved appearance on the Coach of the Year ballot.
We're spicy. We took 3 days off, and here we are ready to fight. We just Nuggets won a series, and we're coming back like a chip on our shoulder.
That
I like
MVP voting actually does piss me off, though. It bothers me in multiple ways. Like, they just started just picking people at random.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that they got to Chris Paul. I really can't. That's the one that I just don't get it.
That's so true. Guys, we're going to talk about Coach of the Year voting because that came out a little controversy, I would say. Another reason for us to feel feisty. We're also going to talk about the perfect series. We're going into round 2. What does the perfect series look like for entertainment value, catharsis, all of those things? And then, of course, as I mentioned, we're going to get some bets. But first, Harrison, take us inside the pregame. What did Malone have to say? How did the team sound?
Very serious, very game one mindset. I love this from Michael Malone. He said, game one, it's kind of like a first date. Get to feel each other, see what they're doing, they'll see what we're doing, and we'll go from there.
Wow.
I love that because I do feel like it's kind of like a first date. You really not a ton of expectations, feel the other team out. But also, the Nuggets definitely approach game ones like that.
Yeah.
They definitely approach it as a feel-out game.
I was going to say, I think Michael Malone's bad at first dates is what this tells me.
Yeah, nothing I want more on my first date than Michael Malone screaming at me to bear down on defense from the sideline.
And just challenging me after, too. Like, I got challenged after I already lost.
What else? What else we get from pregame?
So I really like this from Malone. I meant to get the schedule up from the series here. So
every other day.
Every other day, I think up until between game 6 and 7.
Right.
And Michael Malone said that this plays into Nikola Jokic's favor. He said Nikola Jokic, he likes to play every other day. Nikola's a rhythm guy, and he likes the rhythm of playing every other day. That's what he likes. That's what they got in this series. So he says Nikola's going to like the schedule of this series. I think there's a lot to this. Thinking back to the bubble, that was every other day.
That's true.
And I've always felt like Nikola was a rhythm guy as well, like with his shot in particular. So I think there's really something there. I do.
I do think, though, fatigue will be a factor, though. I mean, as much as Jokic might like the rhythm of it, it's still like it's still an endurance test. So we'll
it's
see.
a double-edged sword, as Malone once yelled at me for asking him about in a scrum.
You're really upset with Malone. You're bringing out a lot of old beef with Malone.
I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, what is going on?
That.
You gotta let it go, man. You have to let it go.
I had a rough first date recently.
All Do we know, is there any other great quotes from Malone? I like how it does sound like he's serious, but also maybe a little relaxed.
Yeah, I would say more serious for sure. We've got the starters, same starters as usual. Facu Campazzo, Austin Rivers, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic getting the nod. Haven't seen what the Suns are rolling out, but I assume it's their regular 5. The other notable thing that Michael Malone said, he thinks it's going to help them coming off a round 1 opponent that also had a dynamic backcourt going up against, what I think is probably a better backcourt in what Phoenix has with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Like, if Denver was going against, I don't know, like, who's a team with a bad backcourt? Like, I don't know. Washington, or not the Washington Wizards. Like,
that seems like an easy
all
one.
of them do have good backcourt.
The Indiana
Orlando
Pacers.
Magic.
Like, yeah, some team with a bad backcourt in the first round. And then all of a sudden you got to go play Chris Paul, Devin Booker. I think playing Lillard and McCollum helps them a little coming into this.
The only difference for me is you were sort of trying to figure out what you want to do with Dame, and then maybe you're relegating CJ, an ISO guy, into being just a spot-up shooter. He really wants to dribble and cook. The alternative here is like, all right, let's get the ball out of Devin Booker's hands and, okay, let Chris Paul
Into
make
the
some
point
decisions.
guard,
So it's a different dynamic.
It's
but,
definitely a
I
little
see that
different.
point.
Yeah. That's all from Michael Malone.
Starters.
Same starters.
So here's a question. We asked this after the first series. Over under 0.5 starting lineups in this one, because I do think that's an interesting question. Even more so interesting now.
I'm going to say over.
This is the series.
And I went under last series.
Did you really?
I went under, but I'm going to say over for this series.
What do you think, Dev?
I'll go with the over.
Two for starting lineups. There'll be one change.
I think that there'll have to be a change at some point. Just if things change, like just change up. I feel like you just have to like switch things up at sometimes. Also, there's like you said, there's fatigue and other things, and I just think that it just keeps people guessing.
Yeah, and then does Will Barton come back, which is going to be a question we'll all be asking to our graves, apparently. But if he does, is he back in time to work himself back into the starting lineup? I don't think so, though. I'm going to take the under. And I think, Malone doesn't. I don't think Malone wants to change the starting lineup unless he feels he has to.
Right. I could see a Facu going to the bench. I've talked about this on every show that we've done, at every radio.
It's the only possible change, I feel like.
Austin Rivers, maybe there's something else there. Yeah, you're right. Will Barton, but I don't see that either. But it's tough. But I do think, I keep thinking about Facu. Can he have an impact on Chris Paul? Absolutely. I think he can, a positive one. But I think he could really have an impact on Campaign. Really have an impact. Like you talk about cutting off their bench. Like if you do that, that's even a bigger win for you than slowing Chris Paul. So maybe that becomes his role. Maybe you get interesting with that, get cute with that. So I could see it happening.
Monte's also just been so good. You could probably make the argument he was Denver's third best player in the first round.
Who is second?
I was going to say MPJ.
Even that's not clear, I would say. Porter had his moments for sure where he spiked. But
Monte was great, though.
Monte was very good.
Games
really
5
good.
and Game 6 in the fourth quarter.
Fantastic.
He was unbelievable.
I just see it as starts Facu, probably closes with Monte.
I think so, too.
That's how I see it.
I think so, too. I'll go under. I think they stick with the same starting lineup. But you know what? Well, I don't know. We'll find out. Let's get to Coach of the Year. Let's air some grievances here, guys. Coach of the Year voting came out today. And I didn't expect Michael Malone to win by any means. But I did think maybe he'll get a couple votes here or there. Not really. He got 2 third-place votes. Is that right?
5 third-place votes.
Third-place votes.
Yeah.
Do we have it, by the way, Kale? I should have probably sent that to you. Do we have it to pull up?
If you go to my timeline, Kale, it's
Harrison has it on his timeline. Vote. I'll start with you. What do you make of Coach of the Year voting this year?
Well, I'll just start with Malone because I just barely saw that graph before I left. But I will say it's interesting to see him that low because he came in third that year, or was it second year that Bud won? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
2 seasons ago. And I thought this was arguably Malone's best coaching job this year. If you consider all the injuries, the way the seasons have gone for those final 4 teams in the bubble of last year. And he did not get that same recognition. 7th is a little low for me.
Yeah. So winning it is Tom Thibodeau. which is kind of hilarious. Like, he's going to accept that one from home. You got Monty Williams, who Denver is up against tonight. Quinn Snyder, a very deserving. Doc Rivers, an interesting one. I think that one kind of surprises me. Nate McMillan, very deserving. Steve Nash, what are we doing here? Steve Nash, hold on a second. And then, of course, Michael Malone. Dev, what do you make of this order?
It doesn't make sense. There's a few teams on there that going into the year, it did not matter who their coach was. You knew where they were going to be. Like, you could have blindly chose. You could have had a child coaching the Nets, and it would have worked out the way that it worked out. I know that they're going to say that they had their own injuries of their own to overcome, but they also still have all NBA type of like players on their team. Same goes along with the Sixers, who also have already been good as well. So that one, like, those two throw me off. McMillan I think that he was deserving. The Suns coach, of course, he was deserving. They haven't been to the playoffs in so long. And then also, like, of course, they're going to go with Thibodeau. But I feel like he should have got more respect, especially with how much the Nuggets have overcome. But at the same time, people are not able to see how much they're, like, having to overcome. They're not on national television. You can't watch them in town. So it already makes it very difficult. If we can't watch them in town, then the national audience is not on them. But you would expect with the MVP candidate and also so many different injuries for them to still rise above that all and be in this. You would expect there to be more votes. So that's wild. But also I think it shows that Jokic is like that good, that everybody's like, you have the best player in the league, so that's what you're supposed to do.
I think that was one of my questions was, has Coach of the Year and MVP ever been on the same team? It'd be an interesting one because I do wonder if you have to, like, give all credit to one and you're not going to give it to everybody.
Well, with Monty Williams, who actually got more first-place votes than Tom Thibodeau, which is
look at that.
actually
Wow.
the funny part about this voting. Monty Williams has been there for a couple years, right?
I think last year after the regular season, but before the bubble was when he was hired, I believe.
Oh, okay.
That was the weird thing.
So
he's had an impact.
It's tough to say, like, how much is him, how much is Chris Paul, like, to your point, kind of. But I'm fine with Monty Williams if he was going to get it. I'd be fine if Quinn Snyder was going to get it. I mean, for Utah just to be the number one team in the West all season, I think that's pretty impressive. Steve Nash, I watched a lot of Brooklyn Nets games this year. The guy got off his chair like 1.5 times per game. He did not do a lot of coaching this year. Nate McMillan coached half a season. Like, I know he was really good in the back half. Atlanta also got really healthy after they were really injured over the first half of the year. He coached half the year. Doc Rivers, I think that was more Daryl Morey just actually making it a coherent roster with a shooter and like a point guard compared to it was last year.
And Embiid tried really hard this year. You know, like most he's put into a regular season.
Tom Thibodeau, I mean, nice turnaround, but they finished fourth in the East, and he ran his guys into the ground so they could finish fourth in the East and flame out in the playoffs.
Not Tom. Thibodeau would not do that.
That's a glam market vote. That's a glamour market vote job right there. It should have been Monty Williams, in my opinion. But no one cares what my opinion is. By the way, real quick, 1996, I believe Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan did Coach of the Year and MVP.
So you're talking about arguably the greatest coach of all time and arguably the greatest player of all time.
Right. Correct.
So that's about what it takes. You have to to the point,
Well,
the greatest season
they've
ever.
got Nikola Jokic. They got one of those, so they just need
there you go.
the other one.
Bud and Giannis, right?
Giannis got one right with his coach. Like,
And Bud?
I think
I
they
feel
did
like
in the same year.
2 years ago or something. Maybe last year.
Man, that one's really looking rough now, man. Budenholzer. Tom Thibodeau not exactly looking great. Quinn Snyder and Monty Williams have my full respect. Like, those two guys.
Yeah. I would be fine with one of those guys.
Quinn Snyder, to me, is and has been for a while one of the best, strategists as a coach. I think he's really smart. He sees it well. That team plays really connected and together. You can't argue it. And Monty Williams, I mean, look, the proof is in the pudding. Yes, Chris Paul arrived. Yes, DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker really took leaps, but the culture, to build a culture, it's kind of like Michael Malone, honestly. Building a culture in a market that has had a very recent history of being a dumpster fire and then turning it into, like, they play connected. They pass the ball. Number one in assists. They play smart. They play defense. They play offense. To get all of that, you're like, wait, this was a team that 1 year ago, yes, they had a good bubble run, but before that, they were garbage. They were the Sacramento Kings. Mm-hmm. That's impressive. So those two guys I get. Tom Thibodeau, come on, man. That one bugs me a little.
Evan McKee had a very good point. He said winning Coach of the Year in the third straight year of getting top 3 seeds just seems unlikely for Malone.
Yeah,
I mean, that is a real good point. Like, they have been winning as of late. But no, we want all the respect every single year. If you could continue to get MVP vote like every single year, why not give it to the coach of the year also?
Yeah.
And they keep improving.
And Steve Nash should be disqualified because Kyrie said that they might not have a head coach or need one.
They have lots of head coaches.
Does it change your opinion at all if I tell you that the Bucks have cut it to 44?
I think they went backwards.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right. It's getting worse.
Cut it to 44.
This is a disgusting basketball game, and I feel terrible for the Bucks.
I don't know how you stop Brooklyn, but I also don't know how you only drop 74 points on Brooklyn.
That's so true.
4 quarters.
That's really true. That's
You have
really
one
bad.
guy. You have one guy, and he's a one-trick pony. Makes it
Wow,
tough.
are you slandering Giannis?
No, I love Giannis when he's able to do whatever he wants, but in the playoffs, if your assignment is to just stop him from dunking.
I will not have you sit here and slander future Nugget Giannis Antetokounmpo.
No,
all right?
I love Giannis. Really, I love.
All right.
I love him when he's able to just free roam.
I mean, full disclosure, I knew the Bucks were doomed when I saw Bobby Portis was going to play 20 minutes a game in the playoffs. That's the moment I knew they might be in trouble.
Don't tell. You would not say that to his face. I promise you that.
I definitely wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't.
He's from Arkansas, man. He's a real one. Let's go ahead and move on and build the perfect series here. What would that look like storybook wise? What happens in it? I'll let you go first here, Dev. Build me the perfect Nuggets Suns series.
The perfect series is a gentleman's sweep.
Okay. Wow.
With Michael Porter Jr. looking like the number one player in the world.
That's the number one ingredient.
That is the number one ingredient because
Hell yeah.
I like it. I didn't even think of that, but I'm with
it's different than what we've seen.
Full speed ahead.
Jokic has already proved himself as the best player in the world for this year, and that's like the next step, like in the evolution of Michael Porter Jr. If he's the one that just like ascends to the best player on the court, you just have to be like scared the entire time. You have to fear for when Jamal Murray comes back, how good is this team going to be? And him for him to be the best player in the world, that means he's getting it done on both ends of the floor. That means he's showing up for all 4 quarters, because that's something that we just haven't seen much of. And then also it just becomes so many mismatches because Jokic is still going to be himself. Everybody else is going to be around. They're still going to have two-way players that they're going to the conference finals with two-way players. Like, that just doesn't happen, playing meaningful minutes. I just think that that's the best scenario for me.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I mean, if MPJ can have an absolutely enormous series, if he just comes out in game 1, goes for 40, game 2, 30, if he averages like 25 plus a game this series, I don't see how it can get much better than that unless Facu Campazzo like nutmegs Chris Paul and then like leading into Nikola Jokic alley-oop. Like, that would be the cherry on top, I think, for me.
All right, not bad. I think Dev hit it the best though so far with MPJ. Let me see.
Well, my perfect series features a lot of what I'm calling modest-sized energy, also known as MSE, and that's between Chris Paul and Facundo Campazzo. I want them to both razzle, dazzle, and at times completely forget the game of basketball out there, try to get under each other's skin. I want Chris Paul to hate Facu by the end of the series because I think it'll be fun to watch. I also want Chris Paul to be healthy. And I still want the Nuggets to whip their ass, but better when Chris Paul is healthy. Also, like, enough of Chris Paul not being healthy in the playoffs. That's bumming me out.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And then the Jokic Ayton battle, I just want it to look as good as advertised.
Yeah. I don't want it to look as good as advertised. I want it to be lopsided. I
take that back.
For me, like, being realistic about this, I think splitting the first 2 games, coming back to Denver, good series, good fill out, first 2 games, you come back tied 1-1. Jokic receives his MVP on a Friday night in Denver ahead of game 3, and it's beautiful. Everybody in Ball Arena is just tears streaming down their faces.
I'll be crying.
Jokic comes out and drops a 50-piece in game 3 just to remind everybody that, hey, you made the right call. It is me. I am the MVP. And everybody feels great about it. Michael Porter comes out in game 4 and has his breakout before he arrives on the scene. Maybe you drop one on the road in game 5, and then you get back and close it out in game 6 behind a great team, balanced team. And then, by the way, you get Will Barton back along the way, and he looks really good. PJ Dozier, too, just for good measure. And all of a sudden, it's like, hey, we're starting to believe. This is a series where it's too early to start talking about championships. But you get through this one, you get to the conference finals, I think you start to taste it a little bit.
I mean, this championship, I think, may just be decided by who just survives. who just doesn't get injured.
Maybe.
I really wonder if that's it. And I like Nikola Jokic's chance of staying healthy.
You're making the same mistake everybody else is, though, because the big names are out. The Knicks are out, and the LeBron's out.
The Knicks?
Well, I'm saying it's New York. It is. Like, there's this feeling of like, oh, man, this playoffs, everybody has to survive because whoever wins is going to be some mediocre team. It's like, no. Who's going to win is going to be the team that wins 4 series against everybody else. And I get what you're saying. Like, it does feel like, the Lakers got taken out, this or that, but it's almost disrespectful to the teams that are still in here to be like, well, now it's just the survive. It's like, no, man, to beat the Suns, it's going to take a lot. They're a good team. To beat Utah or the Clippers, it's going to take a lot. They're a good team. And then we see Brooklyn is up, as we speak, they're up 50. They're up 50. So by no means is this, oh my God, they're up 50.
Has a playoff
40,
coach ever been
43
fired
now.
mid-series?
43.
Well, they were up 49 a second ago.
Good Lord.
Could Budenholzer be fired mid-series? I know that's kind of funny. Anyway, I think to me that's it.
Fault them?
But the big piece to me is Jokic gets his MVP award, and it's a celebration. It's like one of the best days of all of our lives.
Then he has a perfect triple-double against DeAndre Ayton that night.
Oh,
It'd
man.
really be full circle.
That would be full circle, indeed. All right, let's move on to the part of the show where Dev makes us all a lot of money while we preview the show through bets. Open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app.
I need this, Dev. I really need this.
Nice.
I'm hurting.
Could get me out of a lot of jams if you help me out here.
Well, to start us out, there was player boost, right? I feel like on DraftKings, the player boost was Booker and Jokic to both
do you
go
need me
for
to
30.
take over the segment?
No, just that one. You could just do that one because that's the one that
There
you
is
had.
a odds boost on DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Devin Booker and Nikola Jokic both to score 30-plus points has been boosted to 280.
280.
Do you like that? Because that's a little bit of a sucker bet. Both to score 30?
Yeah, I like it.
You like
I like it. I do like it.
It's worth a unit? All right.
We're going to wait and see. Well, let's wait and see on that one. I just wanted to make sure that people did know about that.
All right, I'm placing my bet.
Right now,
Okay,
we're
that's
going to
enough
go
for
to to the point spread. Nuggets are 5.5-point underdogs.
So that's what it opened, so it didn't move.
Yep, did not move at all.
Okay.
I mean, there was no changes on either end, and you pretty much known what was going to happen. 5.5 points is a lot to give to a team that I feel is going to win game 1. So if you're just going to give
That
them
would be too many to give.
if you're going to give that many points, you might as well go over to the player parlays. They have one for Jokic to get a double-double plus a win at plus 230.
Ooh, I like that.
It's a double-double.
A double-double, man.
Like, and also I feel like there was a lot of gamesmanship with Jokic and DeAndre Ayton.
Oh, you think he was just gassing him up?
Yep, because I think that he's
I love this
psyching
take.
himself up. I feel
All
like
right.
he's psyching. I'm going to play against him harder because
He's
I
so
respect
tough.
him.
Nobody's guarded me better than
I
Ayton.
thought that, but I was afraid to say it.
No, I really do
I'm
think
glad
that there
Dev's
was some of that going on where he's just like amping him up, especially because we saw how hype. Like Ayton is a player that I feel like is a child. Like he has Bobo type of vibes. He has the ability to play. So he's able to talk about it, but he really does like respect him. It feels like he really admires him.
I like
feel
Ayton. I think he's really good.
Yeah, I feel like Jokic is going to go at him like really, really tough in this series. So I do like Jokic points. It's at 30.5. He's got 30.5 like every single game, right?
Oh, Jokic is
Oh,
The Bar just saw a photo or a video of Jokic shooting in warm-ups.
Everybody's
Oh,
already
there it is.
clapping.
Yeah, here
MVP
come
chants
the
already.
chants.
Yes, sir.
We
Here
got
they
it going,
come.
baby. We already got it going.
Another one that I really like.
Monday night.
I know.
Another one that I really like is Monte Morris. His
Talk to
points, rebounds, and assists is at 19.5.
Ooh.
I just feel like there's no way he does not get that. That's my lock. Monte
19's
Morris.
a lot, man, because you're thinking 12 points, 5 assists,
I think he gets about 16 points.
16 points.
So you could go with the points because I feel like they're only at 12.5.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
low.
So I mean I do like Monte, and
I
also
think I might like the points better.
I think that he's gonna play a lot.
Okay.
Michael Porter Jr. They have his threes at 2.5. They got it at the lucky number that we really like.
Oh
do
my
like
God!
that a
I
lot.
never don't bet that.
That's
I mean, I
like
always
that,
bet it.
You might as well put a lock. We saw it happen in like the first quarter.
You're calling it a lock?
It's a lock. It's absolutely a lock.
It did happen like 3 minutes into game 6.
Like, and he's
Or
going
game
to keep
5.
going. And also, I think that they try to get him going early.
All right.
In this game.
Okay.
So that's the 2.5 points you just really do have to take. I feel like.
Okay.
Is there anything else that stands out for you guys?
Cam Johnson, does he not shoot threes anymore?
Seems like
I don't think he plays. He doesn't
play.
play that much. Yeah.
He's at 1.5 threes.
Oh,
I feel like he murdered the Nuggets.
Is Torrey
in
Craig
those
listed on
matchups.
there for threes?
You want
Because
Torrey Craig's threes?
him hitting 2 inexplicable catch and shoot
so
threes
funny,
is like a
man.
lock to me.
That's so
Just
funny.
to anger someone, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not on there.
All right. Fair enough.
I like the rebounds. Jokic 10.5 rebounds. He does rebound really well against this team. But you know who I think might have a really good rebound opportunity? Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter. I feel like one of those two guys is probably going to pick up a lot because Mikal Bridges, I don't know. I feel like there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, and Yoke will be boxing out Ayton.
Yoke will be dragging Ayton out to the three-point line, actually.
You're
kinda what
talking
I'm
about
thinking.
offensive rebounds.
Yeah, offensive rebounds too.
Yeah, I really think it's a Michael Porter Jr. type of game.
Okay.
I'm wearing Showtime.
Yeah, you
he
are.
has his 2.5
Write it
threes
down.
that we already know is gonna get. We already knows that he's gonna get his rebounds.
Okay.
His points, rebounds, and assists is at 28.5. I think he gets that in points.
It's also kind of nice that Porter, he came off the bench in the only 2 games he played against Phoenix this year. They haven't gotten a chance to guard him yet. They haven't seen Michael Porter. As weird as that is to say, they've seen him on film and
They've
stuff.
seen him off the bench.
Yeah, but they've seen him in a really weird role.
They do have a good platoon, though, for okay, there's Gordon and Porter alongside each other, and what sort of matchup issues does that present between Crowder, Bridges, and then if they need to, Craig off the bench? They have bodies. They have the right bodies for it.
If the Nuggets can get them to go to Torrey Craig, Denver might have won already.
See
Yeah.
what I love is the matchup for Michael Porter Jr. He's pretty much the tallest player on the court.
Yeah.
You can't put Jay Crowder on him because you need Jay Crowder's size, even though he's not tall. But you need
Strength,
his you need his strength against Aaron Gordon type of player. So that leaves Michael Porter Jr. against Mikal Bridges. I like my chances with him going at him. And then also, if you put Torrey Craig on him,
Scares me a little, actually.
barbecue chicken.
Yeah.
I am actually a little scared of Bridges. Bridges is a great defender. Porter's going to have to hit those contested jumpers. He's not, in my opinion, going to turn the corner with a lot of ease here.
But he doesn't do that. That's the thing about Michael Porter is he just shoots. And you're right. If he's tall enough and strong enough to get open, I kind of like him there. What about this one, Dev? Facu, 4.5 assists. Monte, 4.5 assists. Jokic, 7.5 assists. Which one of those is most likely to hit?
Jokic. I feel like this is a matchup where he'll score and also try to get others involved. I think that he understands that his assists were not up because he was forced to score so often.
I think he's going to be forced to score tonight.
I think he's going to be forced to score, but also I think that he does know that there's not going to be a lot of dumb fouls like that we've seen with Nurkic, so he's going to have to play honest the entire time. I think that there was a lot of baiting Nurkic into a lot of dumb calls that he knew that was going to happen and it was going to capitalize on. I don't think that he gets that with Ayton, so he has to play it honest.
All righty. All right, guys. Well, this is it. The bar's popping, I should
Whoever's
say
on
already.
the jukebox right now is hitting the
They're
right note.
They're hitting them, man. The game is getting ready. That looks like Brooklyn it's winding down mercifully. It's come to a close. So we got Nuggets Suns up next. We're going to be right back here in the lounge after the game. Can't wait to see you then.